Welcome to Fantasia, home of the Melodious. My name's Azallea, and today, gonna be bringing you guys an update to my Melodious deck. Now, before we begin, I have a few things I want to say. First of all, sorry for not posting a video yesterday on Sunday. I was waiting for a few cards that I ordered to come in the mail, and the package got delayed, so I didn't get them until today. And second of all, I'd like to thank you all for 100 subscribers. I know it's a small milestone, but it is a milestone nonetheless, and I really do truly appreciate all your support, and I hope that you continue to do so as I continue to make content for you guys. So with that being said, let's hop right into this deck profile. So first of all, we are playing 3 copies of Arya, the Melodious Diva. She's the main card of the deck. She really helps defend you from your opponent's onslaught, especially with more and more decks trying to go for OTKs now. She's just very, very good at protecting you. Prevents all your Melodious monsters from being destroyed by battle or be targeted by card effects. So I like to play 3 because I like to have 1 copy in the deck, 1 copy on the field, and the other either in the hand or grave. And just so you always have access to her with First Movement Solo, Call the Haunted, any revival cards and stuff like that. So yeah, moving on, we have 3 copies of Soprano, the Melodious Songstress. Soprano is an excellent card. Definitely would recommend running 3, just because the fact that 1, she's level 4, and 2, she allows us to go into our fusions. I do play Polymerization in this build, but your main way of getting to your fusions is probably going to be through Soprano, and she's one of the few cards that allows you to recover cards from your graveyard, which is really nice for maintaining some advantage. And to combo with Soprano, we play 3 copies of Sonata, the Melodious Diva. Now, Sonata is an excellent card, and while she's level 3, she does have the ability to special summon herself from the hand, and she's not limited to once per turn like Cannon is. So I like to play 3 of her. She also allows all fairy monsters to gain 500 attack and defense if she's special summoned and on the field. So she's a great way for your main deck monsters to be able to beat over threats that you normally wouldn't be able to get out of without maybe something like Honest. And for the last Melodious monster we play 1 copy of Tam Tam, the Melodious Diva. Now, the only reason I run her is because I run 1 Polymerization. I like to be able to search it and recover it just as a means of having another spell card in circulation for Summoner Monk, which I do play. Next, we play little engine here. We play the Star Seraph engine. We play 3 copies of Star Seraph Scepter. Now, Star Seraph Scepter allows us to, when it's normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Star Seraph monster from your deck to your hand, except itself, obviously. And the one we're going to be adding is the Star Seraph Sovereignty. Now, Star Seraph Sovereignty is an amazing card coupled with Scepter, and the basic combo with Scepter and Sovereignty allows you to net a lot of draw power and advantage. So, Sovereignty basically allows you to deep draw into your deck to get some combos going. Like, probably, you're more likely than not going to draw into cards that can help you extend your plays and make a larger fields than you already do with the XYZ plays that you're making with these cards. So you might be thinking it's a little inconsistent because we have Scepter and Sovereignty, and you want to be able to have Scepter to go off. Well, we technically play 2 more copies of Scepter in the form of Summoner Monk. Summoner Monk is also very useful for getting dead spells out of her hand, and he's also a really great card for tutoring any Melodious monster that we might need right out of the deck. So he's great for fetching Soprano, for fetching Tam Tam, or even an Arya if they somehow got rid of an Arya on the field. So he's excellent for that. And next off, we run 2 copies of Honest. Honest is an amazing card, obviously. Not much to explain with this, other than that you can also tutor him out from the deck with Summoner Monk, and then return him to the hand, and then attack for some damage. So that's really good in that regard. And for our last 2 monsters, we play 2 copies of Maxi, because if you're not playing Maxi, you're basically putting yourself at a disadvantage. So many decks just like to special summon and go off first turn and establish huge boards. Cosmos do it, Burning Abyss, Phantom Knights do it, and really Maxi is a huge deterrent for them and helps you. If they do decide to keep going, you will net a large advantage and hopefully be able to break their board with those cards. So yeah, that is 22 monsters right here. And next we will move on into the spells. So for our spell cards, we were playing 3 copies of First Movement Solo. Very self-explanatory card. If you control no monsters, you can special summon a level 4 lower Melodious monster straight from your deck. Very great opening play is to get Arya out in the field and just kind of sit on her and go off with your Star Seraphs the following turn if you have them. Another card that we played that I added was Instant Fusion. Now I'm playing 2 copies of Instant Fusion, even though Norden is limited to 1, just because the fact that we can recycle Norden, or we can pitch the other Instant Fusion for Summoner Monk if we need to. So it's not ever really dead for us. It's just nice to be able to draw it and see it more often. The next 2 cards I play, because we play so many monsters and a lot of the monsters don't have a way to get out of the hand by themselves, save for Sonata. So what I do is I play 2 copies of Photon Lead. Now this helps alleviate the normal summon problem, and also the reason I play Photon Lead in this build and not in previous Melodious builds is because most Melodious monsters don't help you generate advantage when they're summoned at all. Photon Lead though in this build is really great because Scepter, Tam Tam, and Soprano all 3 of them will trigger effects to net you another card. So basically you're breaking even, and Photon Lead becomes a card that can help extend your plays and help become whatever it needs to be. If you summon a Scepter, you get a Sovereignty, so Photon Lead becomes a Sovereignty. If you summon the Tam Tam, Photon Lead becomes Polymerization. If you summon Soprano, Photon Lead becomes any other Melodious monster that you want to get from your graveyard. So it's really great in that regard, and definitely recommend playing 2. 3 can get cloggy, and you don't really want to see it in multiples when you're opening up, just because of the fact that it's not that great for establishing initial plays. It's just good for extending our plays when we're trying to push for games. Okay, so next off we're running 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. It's good to main deck spell and trap removal now, especially with card demise decks becoming more and more prevalent. Pendulum decks are starting to come back. Odd Eyes, Perform Pals, and those kinds of pendulum decks are coming back. So it's very nice to have some back row removal, also to destroy the Cosmojos and to destroy Domain and any other back row strikes, bottomless. I just don't like back row. So another Twin Twister basically gets rid of dead cards in our hand. We have a lot of monsters that we normally can't utilize immediately, so I can pitch something and maybe recover it back with Soprano or something like that. We do play Call the Haunted, so we could probably get them back if we need them that way as well. Next off, we play 1 copy of Polymerization. This is the target for Tam Tam, and this is probably the best spell fodder for Summoner Monk in the deck, just because you can get it back and it's recurring with Tam Tam. We play 1 copy of Soul Charge because we want to revive our monsters, and we play 1 copy of Raigeki because we like to destroy our opponent's monsters. And that does it for the spell cards, 13 spell cards. All right. And now for the trap lineup, it is very small compared to my last deck profile, but we play 3 copies of Call the Haunted. I don't play Powerful Rebirth because Call the Haunted doesn't change the levels, and we need the level 4s to go into rank 4 plays. Play 1 copy of Bottomless Trap Hole, pretty much a staple, and I play 1 Rafflesia in the extra deck, so this is the target for her. And 1 copy of Solemn Warning because this is probably the best card in the game right now, just being able to negate all these summons and anything that's remotely threatening that can get over your board. So yeah, that does it for the trap cards. Alright, now going to the extra deck, we play 1 copy of Abyss Dweller, probably the best card in the extra deck, stops all the meta decks, all the relevant decks, and any graveyard effect from going off. Next off, we play 1 copy of Daigusto Emerald. Daigusto Emerald allows us to recycle a lot of our cards, like the Star Seraph Engine, as well as some XYZ monsters. You know, that's why I only play 1 Abyss Dweller. If you need the second one, you can always recycle it, and all that good stuff. We play 1 copy of Kestel, pretty much a staple in rank 4s. One Rafflesia because we play the Bottomless, and she's a good trap monster basically on the field, especially because we don't play that many trap cards. We play one copy of Utopia because we can overlay Utopia the Lightning right onto him, and this just outs all the Cosmo ships. Cosmo's a big deck right now, and Utopia Lightning really puts in work against all of their ships and prevents them from floating. Next off, because we play Star Seraph, we play a lot of 3 material rank 4s. So we play Stellar Knight Deltaros. This is a great card in combination with Scepter because Scepter allows him to pop cards, and Deltaros protects himself because he doesn't allow your opponent to activate anything in response to his summon, unless of course they negate it with Solemn or Strike or something like Solemn Strike or Solemn Warning or something like that. But if they don't, you can pop all the back row with Scepter's effect. You can also use his effect to detach and pop extra cards as well. So I like to summon him when your opponent has a pretty big field, and you can kind of clear it out before you go push for further damage. In conjunction with Deltaros, we play one Stellar Knight Constellar Diamond. Really amazing card against Burning Abyss. You want to summon him, and you just basically win because you negate all of their stuff. Obviously, Dante and Beatrice are light, and they can still activate their effects and stuff, but he still stops Beatrice from dumping things to grave and all that. So it's a really great card overall. Next, we play one copy of number 104, Masquerade. Now, this card is absolutely ridiculous against Cosmos. It's also good against Burning Abyss, but for Cosmo, you could attack any of the small ships, and then, because he's 2700 attack. So when you attack into a small ship and they die, you can detach one material from this card, negate their effect in the grave to special another Cosmo card, and you inflict 800 damage to them. And this card is not once per turn, so if you're ramming into their monsters with like Shiberta and stuff, you can still negate those effects with Masquerade as well. Next off, we play one copy of Evil Swarm Ouroboros for our last XYZ. Now, I know I play a lot of 3 material XYZs. It's because they actually come up really often with Instant Fusion and Star Seraphs. But you kind of want to toolbox them depending on what your opponent has. So Ouroboros I like to summon if my opponent has like little to no back row, like maybe one card set, and I just want to pop it with Scepter and see if I can do that. And then Ouroboros acts as like a Castel. You can spin back like Beatrice or anything that you don't want back to their hand or the extra deck. You can banish important cards in the graveyard like Pantheism and other cards that you don't want in the grave like Dante's or Sears or Graphs. A really great card for that. And you can also, if you're playing something like Cosmo, you can send a card from their hand to the graveyard. Kind of disrupts them for next turn and puts you at an even further ahead in terms of advantage and control. So that is it for the XYZ monsters. Next we'll go into the fusion monsters. So for the fusion monsters, we play one copy of Norden, very self-explanatory, gets stuff back, extend your combos with instant fusion. We play one copy of Bloom Diva, the Melodious Choir, just because you don't really need more than one, especially because we're more focused on XYZ build in this deck. And last but not least, we play 3 copies of Shiberta, the Melodious Maestra, because banishing all your opponent's stuff and controlling their grave is very strong. And yeah, that's it for the extra deck. Alright, and now moving on to the side deck. We play 2 copies of Effect Veiler. This is mainly for the Mermails or the Monarchs, their matchup. You kind of want to stop their vassals and stuff, although you're seeing more and more extra deck Monarchs, and they play less of the vassals, and they play more inherent special summon cards. So it depends on what version of Monarchs you're playing against, whether you or not you really want to side in Veilers. Next up, we signed a copy of Twin Twisters. This is just because Demise decks are a thing, and you just want to clear out their back row and hopefully not get too stunned by their deck. Next up, we play one copy of Chaos Trap Hole. Chaos Trap Hole is an amazing meta call card, I guess you can say. It's basically another Solemn Warning, but for light and dark monsters, and the good thing about it is it banishes them, so Dante's can't float, Beatrice can't float, and all that good stuff. And also, it gets rid of the Cosmos, because if they summon a small pilot, you can banish those and negate the summon so they can't tag out or anything like they can with Bottomless. So Next off, two cards, kind of iffy on these, but they should be working in theory. Magic Drain. It will always be at least a 1-for-1, so if they do negate this effect, they have to discard a spell card. It might be something crucial to their play, but it is very important to be able to negate things like Twin Twisters and stuff when you side in your back row heavy cards for this game 2 and 3. So it's very important to protect from Twin Twisters. You can also negate Pantheisms and stuff and just make them go really minus, especially if they would Twin Twister and they don't have another spell card in hand. They go -3 off the bat from that. So you're basically 1-for-3, and unless their monsters float or their discard card floats, then you're just way ahead of the game just by 1 card. Next off, we play 1 copy of Soul Drain. Soul Drain is just absolutely amazing. Stops all the monster effects in the graveyard. It's a skill drain for the graveyard, and seeing as everything basically relies on graveyard. Cosmos, Burning Abyss, Phantom Knights. Monarchs, a little less so, but I probably wouldn't side this against Monarchs. But for Cosmos and stuff, definitely very strong card against them. Next off, we play 2 copies of Mistake. I wanted to play a 3rd copy, but decided to take out the 3rd copy of this and a 3rd copy of Valor for 2 Magic Drains to be able to protect these cards. Mistake is really good, but it is not absolutely mandatory necessary, and I don't really want to see it all the time because I too search with the Scepters and Tam-Tams and stuff. So it's kind of you want to flip this to stop your opponent from going off, and then hopefully it hurts them more than it hurts you type of card. So only running it at 2. Next off, for the best Floodgate in the game right now, 3 copies of Rivalry of Warlords. This absolutely kills Monarchs, it hurts Cosmo, and it is an absolutely amazing card. I would try to main deck this if my deck wasn't more focused on the extra deck and being aggressive. This build is more leaning towards an aggressive style, like trying to keep up with the speed of the meta, while also having the ability to fall back and play defensively for a couple turns while sitting on Aria. So this is in the side deck just to help against the Monarch matchups and stuff, especially if you're playing against Domain Monarchs. XYZ Monarchs and stuff, they also get hurt by this, but you know, this is a much stronger card against the things like, so they can't Stormforth you and stuff if they already control monsters. It really hurts if they try to summon vassals. So yeah, Rivalry of Warlord is really great. It's also good against Burning Abyss because Dante's a warrior, so they can't overlay their 2 fiends, the Burning Abyss monsters, into a Dante, which is really nice just overall. And for the last 3 cards, obviously we were playing still 3 Imperial Iron Wall, and this hurts Phantom Knights a lot. This also hurts Cosmos. This can single-handedly win you a game against Cosmo because they can't go off, or this can just stop them from tagging out with their ships, so you can just keep ramming your stuff into the ships and just they can't activate the effects to banish. So very, very strong cards. So as you can see, there's a lot of trap cards here. What I like to do is side out some of the things that I don't need, probably Tam-Tams and polymerizations and stuff like that, to kind of put in these cards so that they're expecting you to play really aggressively and they'll side accordingly to that, but then in reality you're going to be stunning them with a bunch of back row. So yeah, that basically does it for the deck profile. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more Melodious content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until next time, take care.